Yes, I have a news release that will be issued tonight through the Deputy Clerk. Municipality of Port Hope has accepted the CAO's resignation.
Yes! Yes! There is a God!
Council is announcing today that Eugene Dodd has resigned from his position as CAO for the Municipality of Port Hope. By mutual agreement, Council has accepted Mr. Todd's resignation, effective immediately. That press release will be initiated, and Council has identified we have appreciated Mr. Todd's contribution over the past 15 years. Council will appoint an interim CAO while we are undertaking the process to hire a new Chief Administrative Officer, and as those plans come forward, they will be made public.
Next.
Mr. Chair, I would ask that this be received for information.
Do you have a seconder? Council Ellis, discussion? All in favor? Carried. Thank you. Any other new business from committee members? Any questions from committee members? Questions from the press? Questions from the audience this evening? Come to the microphone, please, and give us your name and address, please.
Mayor Thompson and members of the council, and everyone who's in the gallery tonight. My name is Blake Bolton. I live in Port Hope. I lived here all my life. It seems to be important to a lot of people. A few weeks ago, we were invited to come out to Canton, to the Municipal Hall, to voice our frustrations with how the garden project went along the river. And a number of people did show up. I'm afraid you couldn't be there. I know you had prior commitments, and that's fine. The reason that I'm here tonight is because, you know, I work on the main street. I live in the town of Port Hope, and I constantly see people standing on the street corner. I have numbers of people standing in my store, and we're all talking about the same thing. And I know coming here tonight, I said to a lot of my friends and my family, if you have something to say, come to town council and say it. I know that by coming here tonight, there's lots of people here that don't agree with anything that I'm going to say. And that's one of the wonderful things about democracy. So we can meet in this room and have different points of view, but we can get along and voice our concerns to all these people that we've elected. And so that's why I'm here. I don't necessarily have a question, and I will try to be as succinct as possible. But, you know, we look at the garden project. It cost $500,000. $129,000 of that was spent before we'd even raised it. There wasn't a lot of community input to it. Even if we just move on from that, and we look at things like the dredging of Port Hope Harbor, when the mayor of Port Hope says, at first glance, I thought that the total cost of that job was $145,000. But when I looked a second time, I realized that it was $145,000 over budget. And the director of finance says, I didn't know that we were over budget until the bills came in. I just want to tell you, if you're anything like me, if you have to balance your checkbook or run a business, you can't do it that way. Everyone in this room tonight and everyone in this town loves this community. We all may have different points of view, but we're all here for one reason. If we move from the dredging of the harbor, we go on to things like $5 million approximately that's going to be spent on the new business park, $820,000 to put the driveway in. If we move on to what other projects have we been talking about? We talk about a proposed $5 million yacht club in Harbor Basin that is maybe 10 years off, maybe not. But we're about to spend $500,000 on an environmental assessment for a project that is still years and years away. I don't know about you, but I'm frightened. I'm frightened of what's happened. And going forward, I hope that we can sit down and take a breath and think about that sober second thought. We're not made of money. When the federal government says, we'll give you some money for that project if you kick in a third, it's not just the third we have to pay for. We have to pay for 100% of it. Because there isn't a group of taxpayers over here and a group of taxpayers over here, we ultimately foot 100% of the bill. And I'm tired of that. The Idea Hub up on Peter Street. I guess the old Matthews Conveyor building, and they renovated it at a cost of about $350,000. Now, it's a state-of-the-art place. There's a beautiful reception area. There are 25 offices available for rent. There's a conference room. There's a dry lab. I'm not sure what a dry lab is, but they've got one. There's storage spaces, a cafeteria. It opened last April. As of November, they got their first tenant. And I just want to tell you why I'm mentioning this, because the tenants that are in there now, there I believe is 2 out of the 25 available units, because they work at the Idea Hub, you and I subsidize their rent. They get their rent for $6 a square foot. That's a great thing. But meanwhile, there are merchants and building owners on the main street that pay $1,000 a month in property taxes. And those taxes go to subsidize those people so that they can get their rent for $6 a square foot. Meanwhile, merchants on the main street, when they walk out their door, they see streetlight fixtures that have been there for 15 years that haven't been painted in 4. And when they painted them 4 years ago, they only painted them to the 6-foot level because it was just too much trouble to go and get a step ladder to paint the top half. I've had enough. We've gone on tours before. This town could do so much better. Look at the talent around this table. We've got Rick Austin, who's been everything from a private citizen to the mayor of Port Hope. Jeff Gilmer has operated one of the most successful businesses that I know. All I want to do is operate a business just like that. But you have to help me out, because we just can't afford to keep going the way we're going.
Just to respond to Mr. Holton. Mr. Holton, I can't comment on what happened in the past. All I can tell you in the future, every dollar in this municipality is being looked at by this council. Taxes were our #1 priority when we met 5 days after the election and had a 3-hour meeting. And I can guarantee you that every department head in this municipality are going to be accountable, okay, for their budgets. And if they're not accountable, there will be action taken. We as a council want to know before any project goes over budget, okay? Come to us, let us know. There is circumstances where projects go over budget. We have to know about it. We don't want to be blindsided again. You know, it's embarrassing to us sitting up here of what's been going on, and we're going to try to put a stop to it, Mr. Holton.
My name is Paul Bailey. I live on Sherburne Street. I was wondering if you could just comment, will there be any criminal investigation or criminal charges as a consequence of resignation?
Council has not discussed that. No, we accepted, council accepted the CAO's resignation, and that has not been discussed.
There's no investigation for spending unauthorized? No investigation for...
We haven't discussed that, Mr. Bailey.
Is it going to be discussed?
Well, if the mayor wants to bring it forward at some time, or some other councillor wants to bring it forward, we would discuss it.
So what you're saying is that there was no spending in the context of the Pillar project without authorization?
I'm not saying that. I was not on council when that project came forward, so I cannot comment on that, Mr. Bailey.
Through you, Mr. Chair, as was identified at the meeting on February 3rd and the resolution resolution that was passed last week. A complete and detailed report will come forward. All of the information has been made public to this date.